Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about my top 5 fantasy books. My absolute favorites, which I would recommend anyone to read that likes fantasy. I mean, if you don't like it, probably wouldn't read it. And yeah, I managed to narrow it down to 5, but that does include whole series, so yeah, you will see. I didn't want to put like from one series multiple books on the list. That would have been quite boring, and so I've put the whole series on the list and made a top 5 from them. So yeah, let's start. Series number 1 and book number 1 is the Sandman series by Neil Gaiman. I started watching the show this week and I love it. I'm hooked. I try to space it out a little bit, just so I have more of it technically, but yeah, it really makes me want to read these again, but yeah, I don't have the time to read them right now, but yeah, I have these really nice collector versions where you have like a whole lot of the comics in one, and they look like this from the inside. If you haven't seen my numbers tag video, I've shown them there also. Yeah. Sorry, my dog wants to come in. Come here, come. Okay. Yeah, these are really heavy to hold, but I love them. These were worth every cent I paid for them because they are quite expensive. This is one thing that keeps me from reading a lot more graphic novels and stuff, because they are so expensive to buy if you think about the time you read them, because like you're reading them quite a bit faster than books. But I've gotten a library subscription at the beginning of the year, so I'm gonna try and buy some on vacation to read a little bit more graphic novels. As I'm in Germany, English graphic novels aren't that much available in the libraries, but I will try and see which I can get. Yeah. Then the second book that is on my top 5. Also, these aren't rated in any kind of order. Like, I love these all equally. Yeah, but I have to put them in some kind of order. So the second one is The Starless Sea. I know that a lot of people prefer her other book above this one, the Night Circus. I also loved that one, also gave it 5 stars, but for me I do come back to this one way more often. I love listening to the audiobook of this one, and yeah, you pretty much here you have the main character who he has an alternative mother, so like a tarot card reader and stuff, and as a child he sees a door that he thinks is painted and he wants to go through, but he gets distracted, and so he doesn't try the door or look at the door more closely, and when he's older in college he actually finds a book where he reads about his own story and a few other stories, and because of that he goes on a search for the author and finds the doors again, and the whole story goes from there, about this kind of like underground world of bookkeepers. And yeah, I love the story, I love the way that it's told. Like, you always have a chapter of the stories in the book he's reading, and then you have a chapter of his story itself, and it always switches. I find that really refreshing, kinda, to have like little pit stops of different stories. So yeah, this was really nice to read. Loved the edition and the cover, and yeah. Then for my third favorite we have Year of the Reaper. This one I didn't have on my radar at all, but I got it in a book box, and absolutely loved it. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of historical fiction. I tend to struggle with it, especially if it's not really a big fantasy aspect, more like a smaller fantasy aspect. I tend to struggle. But this one is about a prince that goes... there's a big war between two neighboring kingdoms. And the prince of one kingdom goes missing and ends up in like a working prison camp for the other kingdom, and then a plague breaks out and a lot of people die, and he is the sole survivor of his prison camp, and then he tries to go back to his family, and his brother in the meantime, not his brother, the ruling family, he's like an aristocrat but not the ruling family per se, and yeah, the ruler pretty much marries a princess of the other kingdom to keep the peace, and he stumbles into that situation, and the book is pretty much about what happens then. And the whole plague aspect of the book was incredibly well done. I just loved it. I think it's a great way to make fantasy books more realistic in a way, and give them like more of a realistic feel, but set in a parallel universe, something like that. And yeah, this book did it amazingly. I didn't like all the characters, but I could understand all the characters, and yeah, I liked their development, a little bit of humor in the story, but otherwise it's quite a dark story, as you can imagine, because plagues aren't ever good. And yeah, really enjoyed the read. Was really unexpected that I loved it so much, and yeah, so you never know what you might get in a book box, especially since I don't think there's any way that you can keep all the new books on your radar. I also tend to buy books secondhand. I do love new books, but I don't have the money to buy all my books new, let's be honest. And so yeah, I don't often see the new releases of many authors, so it's always nice to get a new release in the book box and then actually also like it. Next series probably doesn't come as a surprise, but it's The Lord of the Rings. I can't not mention it, there's just no way. Yeah, I love The Hobbit, I love The Lord of the Rings, I love The Silmarillion and a few of the other books I've read by Tolkien. I just love his writing style. I mean, I probably don't have to tell you what this book is about. It's about The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. The writing style is great, the world building is incredible. I don't know if anybody even comes close to the world building of The Lord of the Rings, and I love the characters. I'm a big Hobbit fan. And yeah, I haven't started watching the new series, but probably will do that once I finish with Sandman. I'm just not a quick watcher of things like that, but yeah, hopefully it's good. Kinda afraid that it's not how I want it to be, but yeah, let's see how that goes. The last one of my top 5 favorite books is actually Good Omens. I thought a lot about different books from Neil Gaiman or Terry Pratchett I could put in here, because I do have a lot of favorites in Neil Gaiman's books, and I do love a few of Terry Pratchett's books, but I think they come together the best in this one. Good Omens is pretty much, the story is you have an angel and a demon that are supposed to start the war between demons and angels and start the apocalypse. And to do that they have to pretty much bring up the Antichrist. The Antichrist is in a normal human family, but they are supposed to influence him to actually, yeah, get their goal. Either the angels or the demons. But the main characters, they like each other, and so they don't really want the world to end because they do like the world quite a bit, and so they try to get the Antichrist to not bring the apocalypse pretty much. And yeah, it's a book full of humor. It's a really, really funny book. I loved it as I read it the first time. I love the series with David Tennant. He's an incredibly good actor and he fits the main character so good. And yeah, if you want to get a little bit of a taste of Pratchett and Gaiman, this one's a really, really great choice to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's really good fantasy with really good humor mixed up, and sometimes fantasy takes itself so serious. I mean, it's understandable, but sometimes I get annoyed by it because I just want fun read sometimes, and I think it's hard to get through certain fantasy books. I love them in the end, but the process of reading through them can be really, really hard. For example, I do love Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read much of him because it takes me so long to get through his books. I love them in the end, like they are 5-star reads, the two I've read from him, but it takes me a whole month to read through one of the books because it's a lot to take in. And so I think this one is like a good fast read if you want a fantasy that doesn't take so long to read and doesn't take itself too seriously. And yeah, these are my current top 5 favorite fantasy books slash series. And yeah, leave me in the comments below what your favorites are, and maybe I can find some new great fantasy books. I will at some point do like a bookshelf tour, but I'm still missing one bookshelf for my room, and because it doesn't look as great with the bookshelf missing, I don't want to do the tour before I've got the bookshelf, and I don't know when I'm gonna get that one. But yeah, then I can show you like all the fantasy I've read. I've also thought about doing a tier list video, like ranking all of the fantasy books I've read. But the problem is I don't know how to film that video because my computer, I don't have a laptop, I have a standing computer, like a desktop PC, and it's not the greatest location to film, and I also don't own like a tripod or stuff. Like you currently are sat on a stack of books, what else in this room, but yeah, I don't really know how to film those. So these will probably come at a later point when I've got a little bit more equipment. But yeah, you can look forward to those at some point, and yeah, leave me in the comments below. What are your favorite books? Let me know if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, until next time, bye bye!